Welcome to my new series, Top 5 List. The point is to help you figure out which ships are great for what you want to do in the game. We'll mostly talk about ships that are currently in game. If we do talk about a ship that is still in concept, just be aware that is theory crafting. And remember, digital ships aren't imaginary, digital ships are imagine-necessary. Before we start, I am giving away an account with an Avenger Titan with a Stella Fortuna weapon. I'm also giving away a 400 eye skin and a 600 eye skin for a total of not one, not two, but 3 prizes. To enter the contest, make sure you're subscribed to Billionaire Ninjas, leave a comment on at least one video, and like or dislike this video. When you win, I will verify through social media, so make sure you go and follow Billionaire Ninjas page at Ninjas Leap on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. The 3 winners for each contest will be announced at the end of March 2024, and we'll have 2 weeks to claim the prize. The first person to verify gets to choose the best prize, so although you have 2 weeks, you'll want to reach out fast. So make sure you're watching every video as soon as possible to be the first to grab the grand prize. Today, our focus is the top 5 ships in the game for industry. Anytime you do a list like this, there will surely be people who disagree or have a different list. So make sure you leave your top 5 list in the comments below so people can see what your list looks like, because that is why we do things like this, not to be the definitive voice on the issue, but to start a conversation. We won't fully review these ships, just a few notes about why we like them. You'll have to check out our Review Every Ship by CitizenCon 2024 playlist if you want a more in-depth look at these ships. Also, this list is as of 3.22. I'll try to do a new one for each patch if the list changes. In this one, it's all about the money makers, baby. And we're including the concepts in this one, so get ready for some theory crafting. But it's also about the value of purchasing the ship as well as which ones you should buy first if you're the earn it all in game type of fellow. These are ships where their primary purpose is to be part of an industry, but not ships primarily for combat and not for direct combat support, and also not including cargo ships, which I'm saving for another set of videos coming soon. So let's start with number 5, the MISC Starfarer at $340. This one may come as a surprise to some people because you may be thinking fuel won't be that important when you could just go to a base. But now that we're seeing Mark II variants start to pop up everywhere, my guess is this one will get a Mark II variant as well. And that means massive updates. Every spaceship needs fuel, and most spaceships need quantum fuel, and the costs of that fuel are only going to increase from where they are now. In the future, fuel is going to be a massive consideration before you go on a mission. Imagine the convenience of being able to call someone to fuel you up while you're on mission and avoid the wait and the hassle. These ships are already underrated, mostly because of how ugly they are. Sorry CIG, this thing is a no-go relative to your other ships. But mark my words, this will be one of the biggest money makers in the game because not a lot of people will own this ship and not a lot of people will be interested in the fueling gameplay. This will be the fastest money maker on the list as fueling doesn't take a lot of time. Buying this ship is like buying a house because it has good bone. Doesn't look like much now, but it's a worthy investment for the future. Moving on, after the Starfarer, we have number 4, the Aegis Reclaimer. The current super money maker. A few people might be surprised this isn't higher on the list. That's probably because you're currently out making millions of dollars with this thing right now in 3.22.1. However, if you know Star Citizen, then you know it will get nerfed, but not in a bad way, more so to make it balanced.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
But that doesn't mean this won't be a lean green money making machine. This will still print money every time you bring it back to station because you can load this thing up to the brim with RMC, much more than its intended capacity. Just remember that you have to fly a bit safer in the future to get that overload where it's supposed to be. My guess is we'll see a lot of people with these because of how much money they make and how early it made it into the game with all of its gameplay. There will be more of these than any of the other ships I name on this list, which is why it's at number 4 rather than lower. Saturation and lack of rarity, but still worth the price if you ask me. Oh yeah, and imagine if this thing gets the ability to munch derelict buildings in the future. Oh, I can smell the money from here. On to the next one. Number 3, the Anvil Crucible. The repair ships may end up being the single most useful ships in the game. Every single ship in the verse will need to be repaired and to have routine maintenance. The Crucible can do it all and then some. Not to mention it can repair capital ships, and it can even repair itself. It can separate into two parts so that a small ship can be repaired in its garage while the Scarab piece and its long arms repair a larger second ship. Yet again, a ship that not a lot of people will have, and not a lot of people will be interested in playing as their primary role to be a repair person. I struggled to choose this ship over the Reclaimer, but in the end, I deem this one easier to find work, so it has the edge. No matter where you go, you'll be able to use the Crucible, whereas the Reclaimer will have to go a bit out of its way most of the time, even if it's worth the travel. But also, the Reclaimer feeds the Crucible with RMC, so when they are used in tandem, this might be the two most profitable ships to pair in the game. From looking at how fun salvage gameplay is, I'm guessing repair gameplay will be just as fun when you're repairing with the ship instead of a gun. This will also be the second fastest moneymaker on the list, but I think it will make much more money than fueling because the prep time. For instance, the Starfarer simply has to go get fuel, then go give fuel. Not much to it. The Reclaimer has to unload its cargo manually through an elevator, a bit more involved. Not to mention you have to go find the ship you want to break apart. The Crucible will be even more involved because you'll need to have the right tools and right materials on board to properly or more effectively repair a ship, because RMC won't be able to repair everything. But let's move on. Next, we have the big boy, the Orion. This one should surprise nobody. The RSI Orion, aka the Asteroid Eater, aka Baby Galactus, is going to make tons of money by chewing up whatever you point that laser at and spitting it out. It's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a lot of crew to operate properly, but at the same time, that haul of random ore is going to be legendary. The prep time for this will also be a beast, along with this thing probably moving extremely slow because of how large it is. Fuel costs will be incredibly high. Crew costs will be incredibly high. In fact, all of the startup costs will be incredibly high, but you will definitely make your money back and then some. I can't even fathom the amount of money this thing will make when it's full. Not to mention pairing this with a cargo ship and a repair ship means it can just stay out and keep eating. We also haven't heard about whether it will be able to mine planets. So there are still even greater possibilities out there for these. Before we go to our number one, you know I have to do an honorable mention. And my honorable mention is the Genesis Starliner from Crusader. I think moving people is yet another industry that will be overlooked in the game. I can tell because I did a video on the Starliner, and from the comments alone, I could see the money-making opportunities for this ship were being overlooked. Think about it, folks. How many NPCs are going to need to go from point A to point B? A lot. Not to mention it's basically like doing cargo missions, except the cargo loads itself. Albeit, you have to have people to serve your passengers, whereas your cargo can go without the extra peanuts or needing to go use the bathroom every 5 minutes. But let's not forget the Genesis Starliner is also modular, and that's what a lot of people are missing. Having a cargo ship is great. Having a cargo ship that can also do other things without having you buy another ship is even better. But imagine still being able to charge your own fees for tickets. You can make tons of money with this, but until we see gameplay, I can't fully put it on the list. All right, onward to number one. The Pioneer, the consolidated Outland masterpiece at $850. This may surprise some, or maybe it won't, but construction will be the single most profitable thing you can do in Star Citizen. We can build buildings, we can build ships, and more. And whatever we can't build, we can build a building that can build that thing that we can't build. Say that 5 times fast. But one thing to note, even though this will make tons of money, it will also require more prep work than any other ship on this list, because you'll have to find blueprints to even be able to build anything. Then you'll have to gather the correct supplies for those blueprints, some of which may be extremely rare or extremely expensive. You'll need security to protect while you build. Then you'll need security to protect the buildings that you've already built while you're building the other buildings. So you are definitely going to have to work for the money you get. However, the possibilities of a construction ship built like this are nearly endless. I mean, being able to build a space station with this thing will be absolutely next level. You just have to ask and answer the question: is having the biggest moneymaker in the game worth the price of admission? Because holy smokes, is that a heck of a price to spend on a digital spaceship. But well, I have one, so who am I to talk? So there you have it, our top 5 industry ships as of 3.22.1. Let us know your top 5 in the comments and stay tuned for the top 5 cargo ships. We suggest renting ships and trying them out for yourself before you make a decision. It's your money after all. But no matter which ship you get, I want to be clear, no ship will be a perfect ship. You'll always have to get the right ship for the right job, and everything will be pushed to be balanced. So it's more important to pick a ship that you like and don't mind flying and can have the most fun with, rather than trying to min-max your money earning potential. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for spending your time with us. See you in the next one. Peace.